Floor is on the case of Brandon Roberts.
There you go.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
State your name, please.
Trooper Blake Owens,
Where do you work?
Kentucky State Police, Post 16.
What do you do at the state police?
I'm a trooper
How long have you been a trooper?
for just over 3 years.
Do you recall whether you were working the early evening hours of December 31st of 2018?
Yes, sir, I was.
Were you patrolling
Yes, sir.
in Daviess County?
Yes, sir.
Did you come in contact with a Brandon Roberts?
Yes, sir, I did.
Do you recognize him in court today?
Yes, sir. You're standing to my right.
Did you charge Mr. Roberts with criminal mischief, misdemeanor, and operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol or other drugs for the offense?
Yes, sir.
Can you please explain to the court, for the purposes of establishing probable cause, why you did that?
Yes, sir.
And I'll hand you this citation.
Okay. Yes, sir. It was December the 31st, 2018, approximately 8:15 p.m. Post 16 received a call from someone stating that there were four-wheelers driving through the schoolyard on Kentucky 56, I believe it's Sargo Elementary. Upon arrival, I located a vehicle, a black F-150, stuck in the mud. And there was evidence of donuts having been done around the vehicle. It was very wet and muddy all the way around the vehicle, and the truck was hung up in the mud. I observed Mr. Roberts and two others standing next to the truck attempting to dig it out. Mr. Roberts stated that he was the one who was driving the truck and it was registered to him, and that he had gotten it stuck. He advised he was looking for his dog, which I observed to be in the crate in his driveway when his truck got stuck. I observed him have dilated pupils and shaky speech as I was speaking to him, which are things that would be indicative of someone who's under the influence. I asked Mr. Roberts how much he had to drink. He stated none, and at that time I conducted standardized field sobriety tasks. Through my conduction of
Let's just skip through those.
Yes, sir. Through conducting the standardized field sobriety tests, I determined him to be under the influence.
Okay.
I placed him under arrest and Mirandized him. At that time, he stated that he had been taking kratom throughout the day. Earlier in the day, and that was the only substance he had taken. At that time, I arrested him, transported him to the hospital for a blood draw, where implied consent was read. He did use his time to call an attorney. He attempted Kevin Lamas with no answer, then made contact with David Yule. While he was speaking with Mr. Yule, he stated that he had taken Klonopin and wanted to know about taking the blood test, and then he refused the blood test. After that, in my car while I was typing up the citation, he confirmed to me that he had taken a Klonopin and that the blood test would show that he was under the influence of Klonopin, but he assured me that he was not. He was lodged in Daviess County Detention Center.
Now, you charged Mr. Roberts with the fourth offense, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the judge why you did that?
Yes, sir. That was his fourth DUI offense in the last 10 years in the
How
state
did you
of Kentucky.
confirm that?
Through a CourtNet query.
That you conducted?
Yes.
And did these offenses occur in Daviess County?
I'm unsure if all of them occurred.
I'm not talking about the other DUIs.
Yes.
I just wanted to reiterate that the events on December 31st, as you know them to be, did they occur in Daviess County?
Yes, sir.
Judge, those are all the questions I have at this time.
Okay. Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Trooper Owens, could you please tell the court, where were you prior to arrival on scene where you found Mr. Roberts?
Can you clarify? I don't understand.
You were dispatched to arrive to the location where Mr. Roberts was, right?
Correct.
You were called to the scene from a different location, right?
Correct.
You were not in the area. You were
Correct.
further out. Do you recall where you were?
No, I do not.
Do you recall how long it took you to get from where you were to the scene after you received the call from dispatch?
Not without referring to a CAD sheet. No, sir.
Do we have a CAD sheet in the file?
I didn't see one.
If not, that's okay, I'll move on.
There probably is not one. No.
Yeah, I don't see one either. Okay, but if you refer to the CAD sheet, you'd be able to tell
Yes,
more
sir.
specifically? Okay. Once you arrived, you saw the Ford F-150 truck, license plate 642 NBJ, stuck in the mud, correct?
Yes, sir.
There was nobody behind the wheel of the car at that time, correct?
That's correct.
There were 3 individuals standing around, outside and around the truck when you arrived, correct?
Correct.
You did not see anybody drive the truck at any point, correct?
That's correct.
You did not see Mr. Roberts drive the truck at any point.
Correct.
You did not see him operate any other motor or non-motor vehicle, correct?
Correct.
You also stated that he at some point admitted to taking Klonopin, correct?
Correct.
And he did not tell you specifically when the Klonopin was taken, right?
That's correct.
So it could have been a day ago, 2 days, 3 days.
Correct.
You're also aware that kratom powder is not monitored by the Centers for Disease Control.
Correct.
It is not a felony to possess it in Kentucky, right?
That's correct.
It is not a Schedule 1, 2, 3, or 4 under Kentucky law or federal law, right?
To my knowledge, correct.
It can be purchased from any gas station in the Commonwealth that sells them, I suppose.
That sells it, yes, sir.
At the station, did you breathalyze Mr. Roberts?
No, sir.
You did not breathalyze him.
No, sir.
1 second. I'm sorry, Your Honor. Are you aware if anybody breathalyzed Mr. Roberts at the jail?
I'm unaware. There is a policy, let me take that back. Daviess County Detention Center sometimes PBTs the inmates when they're charged with DUI. I did not administer any type of breath test. I didn't suspect alcohol.
But you are aware that there is a policy to breathalyze suspects pursuant to procedure?
I'm unaware of any policies, but I do know that to be the case from time to time. They PBT people who come in the door.
So he could have been breathalyzed, but you just don't know?
Correct.
Got you.
Well, and I think he said PBT, so there's a difference between the breathalyzer and the PBT, so just to distinguish that.
Yes, Your Honor. Just to reiterate, you never saw Mr. Roberts behind the wheel of a car operating a motor vehicle at any point in time in the entire interaction with Mr. Roberts?
That's correct.
No further questions.
Okay.
No
Argument?
further questions, Judge.
Any witnesses that you wish to call?
No, Your Honor. I'd like to argue.
Okay.
I think this is a very clear-cut case where the Commonwealth does not have probable cause. If there ever was a poster child case for no probable cause for DUI, this is it. They require 2 things for a DUI. They require operation and under the influence. Under the influence, they at least have a scintilla of evidence, even though I don't think it rises to the level of that the court needs, but that's not what we're asking here. What we're asking is prong number 1 of KRS 189A010 subsection 1, A, B, or C, whichever one they choose under. They need operation under the influence. What do they have? Potentially under the influence, they have 0 operation. Not only have they not met the element, they have absolutely nothing to show that Mr. Roberts was behind the wheel of a car, operated that truck, nothing at all. Therefore, there is no probable cause, Your Honor, for the DUI 4th offense.
Okay. They actually have his testimony that he was behind the wheel and that he was the one operating the vehicle. And I don't have the CAD, but I would say that there's probable cause to assume operation. Furthermore, in Kentucky, we have the stewed prune law, which states that you can be under the influence of too much stewed prunes, and if it affects your driving, it makes you eligible to be charged. So I think there's case law that specifically spells out stewed prunes.
May I respond, Your Honor, to that? If I may? Just to protect the record.
Go ahead.
the trooper has not testified when Mr. Roberts was operating. He could have been operating hours prior. At the time, he could have been not under the influence of anything. There's a very strong possibility.
Stop. Did it take you hours to get to the scene?
No, Your Honor.
Probable cause is found. I will look and see if there's probable cause for a fourth offense or not, since no one's specifically gone through the...
But, Your Honor, that is not my question. I'm sorry. Before there was any evidence of dispatch being notified of this, the officer could have arrived there 20 minutes later, but there is not enough evidence for probable cause. I still maintain the defense argument.
And I still say there is probable cause. I mean, obviously more has to be fleshed out
Understood,
at
Your Honor.
trial.
Again, I'm just protecting the record. I'm not quibbling with the court.
What's this one?
Thank you so much.
So I am showing that it is the fourth within the 10 years. So again, probable cause that it is a felony, and sending that up to the grand jury.
Thank you, Your Honor. What week would that be?
I have no idea when they pick that up. They do that based upon their own...
Oh, well, I mean, usually, I don't know, I'm familiar with grand jury weeks whenever it's going to be submitted. I'm not sure how Daviess County does it.
Grand jury weeks are usually the first week of the month, but that's no guarantee that the cases from the past month are going to be the cases that they take up that next
So
month.
the earliest would be the first week of March, possibly April or May, et cetera, et cetera? Understood. Thank you.
Judge, Mr. Kegel wanted me to advise that it'll be within 60 days.
Okay,
So,
Thank you.
and this goes in the file.
thank you.
Judge, we would oppose a reduction on...
What is his bond
Actually,
currently
he
set
may
at?
already be out on this. I think the file says he posted 5,000 full cash.
He did.
So-
And
It doesn't look like he's being held on this.
And Your Honor, the issue was, and I think this is not the court's fault, because he had the diversion upstairs, which is on this morning. We're actually going to go back to it in just a moment. Because of this violation, he was picked up. Even though he was picked up on this on the 31st, he posted 5,000 full cash, was out on bond, and then couple weeks later, in mid-January, he was picked up on the diversion violation upstairs. So I don't think the court can't really do much. He's free to leave out of this court.
But what I can do is, since it's all going up to circuit court,
Yes.
is return this bond money to Paul Roberts and put him in on a $5,000 full cash bond and release this. So he's being held on $5,000. Right now he's not being held, so he's not getting any credit for the time that he's serving. But if I put him in on this and release the bond money back to Mr. Roberts, he would be getting credit for the time that he's serving on this file, if you want me to do that.
Yes, please, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
All right, thanks.
So release that to the jury.